So moving on to our next subject, Bagel Karen.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh man, I can't wait for this one.
let me just give our audience a high level of what's going on here for those of you who might not have heard the story. There was a lady in New York City who encountered a Black male employee while at a coffee shop who was trying to get her to put her mask on as per the store requirement. Okay, that was a company policy that he was enforcing, who refused to do so and proceeded to call him a racial slur. So the official question on Bagel Karen is, what are your thoughts on Bagel Karen denying the claim that she called him the N-word, despite there being a video where you can clearly see her doing it? So that's the question. The fact that she denied this whole incident that is clearly on video. So I'm going to throw this to Mr. PAT. What say you, sir?
All right, so I don't have a whole lot to say on this whole thing. I have no cute names for these people because, of course, she's being called Bagel Karen. We hear Karen. Of course, there's the BBQ Beckys out there and all this other shit.
Get those Beckys. Get those Beckys.
Fuck all these cute names. That's what I say. As we all know, it's a racist being a racist.
Mm-hmm.
People like her are trash. And that's really it. They're trash. So she called the employee the N-word because just like all the other suspected white supremacists out there, they feel that their privilege shouldn't be challenged. They feel that their whiteness shouldn't be challenged. The fact of the matter is she wasn't wearing a fucking mask. I'll admit that while wearing masks everywhere is annoying, the fact is you are still required to wear a mask, just like everyone else. You're not special. No one cares about your MAGA bullshit, and no one cares about your, however you say it, QAnon, or whatever. Like, nobody cares about that bullshit because she's not the only one who's like, I guess what they call a anti-masker, where they just don't want to wear a mask when they go into places. You know, whatever. But, you know, the so-called quote unquote woke people want to walk around and just not wear a mask at establishments. That's cool and all. But guess what? Businesses are not obligated to serve you. If you can't abide by the business's rules, then you will not be serviced. It's really that simple. Maybe you just need to find a place that allows people to come in without a mask. Other than that, wear a fucking mask or go home. And I think what makes this incident worse is the fact that this racist, I'm just gonna call her what she is, I'm not calling her any of these cute names or whatever. This racist had her kids with her, and her kids are biracial. So her kids are biracial, which means someone of another race actually impregnated this woman. Me personally, I feel sorry for her kids. As we all know, children don't ask to be brought into the world. Children don't get to choose who their parents are. So now her children have to be in a household with the likes of her. I won't even get into the silly excuses that she made for saying the N-word. But what's interesting is while she did acknowledge saying the word, she, as you stated before, Nia, that she denied it. Maybe she was engaging in some type of doublespeak. I don't know. But the fact is the video doesn't lie. Video doesn't lie. She said what she said. So for her to deny it, it's insulting people's intelligence. And I think insulting people's intelligence, it just adds fuel to the fire. And really, all it does is make her look worse than she already looks. So just to end it off, as we all know, this is just one in many incidents where people are showing their true colors. No pun intended. Racists are more comfortable being openly racist. That's all well and fine, because over here, we're all about the open racists. Let us
expose yourself, baby.
Right, expose yourself. Let us see who the fuck you really are.
Yes.
Don't try to hide it. Let us know who you really are, so we can know how much.
Just of an R&B song.
Really and that's all I'm gonna say to that.
No, I feel you, sir. All right, good stuff. Okay, Mr. Emmett, what say you, sir?
So, first things first, I am very disappointed to all the Europeans that are not taking care of their Karens, all right? I feel like they're just acting out because they're acting out because y'all not doing a good job taking care of your Karens. So y'all need to take care of your Karens, all right? Y'all really do, because y'all doing a very bad job. Because they're over here being foolish on camera, saying things they're not supposed to be saying, but knowing they believe this stuff that they're saying because they know who they are really. So they need to control themselves, because y'all not doing a good job. Because I don't know how many Karen videos are out there, but I've seen so much that it's ridiculous, highly ridiculous, you know. But just asking, do you guys know where that video came from? Was it in Florida?
It was in New York.
It was in New York. Dear goodness. Damn. That's even worse. But yeah, first and foremost, they need to just stop denying when you know you've done wrong, say you done wrong, you know? See, that's where the healing starts in place. But they want to say shit and then act like you ain't said shit, but someone can repeat what you just said off camera. That's like an actor going to work, not acting, but said he played a part in a movie, but he wasn't there, you know?
Well,
did that even make sense what I just said?
That's what they do. They gaslight.
That's what I'm saying. See, I just said something that I thought didn't make sense, but now it makes sense. You see, that's just what's going on with all the Karens in the world. You know, this is like, you know, that's the big thing, you know. But, you know, and there's some women who have the name Karen. I don't even know how this became even a term. So all the women, if your name is Karen, do not feel bad, because we're not talking about you. We're talking about the people who are acting wild and childish because they can't get their lives together, you know, for no reason, you know, because say if I start calling a European white woman out of her name, you know, and I'm a black male, you know, what if I start calling white males honkies just for no reason because of, you know, or douchebags because, you know, simple fact, I'm mad because I didn't get my coffee made correctly and whatnot. It's just a cup of coffee, you know? Like, we're holding small entitlements to things that don't even make sense, you know? And I feel like that is what our biggest issue in society, you know? Like, if you notice, like, I used to drink Starbucks. I don't drink coffee anymore. But I notice when I go to a Starbucks, I can just see the atmosphere in it, and I can tell based upon the reason, you know, those who buy coffee over there, you know, like, you see what the atmosphere is like, you know. But when you see somebody who don't belong there, you know, that's when shit changes, and that's when everyone looks at you crazy, you know. And this is what most of these Karens are doing, you know. And you embarrassing yourself in front of the whole world. So I hope she gets her life together. I hope, you know, she ain't gonna get no repercussion, but hopefully you see this as a light to better yourself, you know, because you need to just keep, I'm not gonna say you just need to keep that word out of your mouth, but you don't know what, if you say this in a different situation where something really would have happened to her, you know, then, you know, you putting it on yourself and whatnot, You know, I'm gonna just leave it as that. But some of these Karens just need to just get laid and just live life, because y'all ruin it for every single European white woman out there, because all of them are not crazy. Just the Karens out there are crazy.
All right, so I got a few things here. So first of all, I'm gonna say this. I 100% feel like this is just a classic case of white privilege, okay, and racism. It's the combination of the two. Her white privilege lets her think she can get away with fucking completely denying something that is on camera, okay? And she's a flat out racist. Her first result was to call him a nigga because she didn't like excuse. I said the word, everyone, because that is the word that she used, okay? The woman called him the N-word, okay?
She said,
was to call him a nigger with the ER, the hard ER, okay? Because he was enforcing a company policy that you had to have a mask on in that store. I mean, where the fuck has she been? Under a rock? The pandemic has been happening for over a year now. Stores have been enforcing this rule for a while now.
Yep.
So you absolutely went in there with no intent of adhering to the store's policy, and then decided that you were entitled enough to call this man a racial slur while on video, and then doubled down on it. When other patrons who heard her do it addressed her and said, hey, you can't call him that, you can't do that, she said, that's what he is. So to have the audacity to turn around later when a journalist tracked her down at her home and say, I never said that word, is an example of white privilege. Her white privilege lets her feel comfortable enough to do that because she knows she's not going to face any fucking consequences for her actions. It's that simple. I'm sorry, but people who want to question whether white privilege exists or not, come back to me and let me know what the results of this is, and then we can talk about it.
Oh, it definitely exists.
Exactly. Exactly. Technically, what she did was decide to go on a racist tirade without any consequences. It's that simple.
Because she feels that she can
Because she knows there aren't going to be any consequences. She doesn't want to change, is the point. E-Man, you were mentioning before, admit you did wrong and etc. She knows she doesn't have to admit she did wrong, which is why she didn't. Because there are not going to be any real consequences for her. There never are. That's the reality of it.
That's true.
And that's what allows these people to feel so entitled. But I tell you what, keep doing it, dummies. Please keep exposing yourselves. I love when you expose yourself, because I 100% would rather face my enemy head on, face to face, than have you lurking behind my back. Bring yourself out to the front line, player.
Right.
I'm glad you did it. But this whole notion that she is comfortable enough to say that she didn't say it when she's on fucking video is one of the best examples of white privilege there ever will be.
That's a bold Karen. That's a
period.
Really bold Karen.
That's just that simple. She's only comfortable with doing that, with denying the whole thing, because she can be. Because she knows she's not going to suffer any consequences. She doubled down on it in the video, in the very incident. Yeah. Other patrons called her out on it, and she says that's what he is, yet she still denied it later. Do you understand the confidence level you have to have in order to do that?
Like I said, she's a bold Karen.
She's a bold white woman who knows her white privilege exists. That's what it is. And she's a racist. And I'm not saying that all white people have, this thought in the back of their head that I have white privilege, so I'm just going to do and say. I am not saying that at all. I have plenty of white people in my life who are decent people, who are good people. That is not what I'm saying at all. I don't, it would be ridiculous of me stereotype a whole group of people the same way we wouldn't expect them to do it to us. However, this is obviously a fucking case of one who knew she had it, because she's in the video, the original video, doubling down on her racial slur, then turns around later and denies the shit. That's the one of the most serious levels of just bold, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to utilize my privilege card there ever was. It's that simple.
Just like I just said in the beginning, European white men, we got to take care of those Karens because they're acting too bold out here. Just letting y'all know. PSA.
They've been too bold. It just haven't been recorded in the past. We're in the age of constant information and data, and now anyone with a smartphone is a journalist essentially, right? Anyone with a smartphone can bring a story to the world, right? So now they can't hide it. It's not that they haven't always been doing it. It's always been around. Racism has always been around. Privilege and everything that comes along with that has always been around. It's just now it's at the forefront of our lives, because everything is at the forefront of our lives because of the world we live in today, where you can't get away with shit because someone's always recording or videotaping something.
That's true.
And in this particular situation, Shawty exposed herself and then used her privilege to tried to use her privilege to deny it later.
That made me think of that Ply song though.
Which one?
Shawty. Was that him who made that song?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he made a song called Shawty.
That's what I thought.
Oh yeah. Okay. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. I mean, she was, it's quite simple. She was racist or is racist, and she tried to use her white privilege to get out of the whole situation, but it's not working because, bitch, we see you on camera. Okay, right. You're on camera. We can see and hear you calling him the N-word on camera.
Yeah, and this goes back to what Will Smith said. I mean, he says something along the lines of there isn't more racism. It's just that racism is being filmed more.
Exactly.
That's what's happening. Racism, because I hear people say, oh, the country is quote unquote more divided, or people are just more racist, or it's just more racism. This whole notion of more racism, and my thing is it's not more racism. Racism is just being recorded.
Exactly.
We just see it more. That's it. So.
Exactly right. Yeah. So it's just the technology age. That's where we're in, the information technology age. You can't escape it because it's everywhere.
That's why I keep telling. When you live under a rock, you know how like those, like, what's it called, those like crawfishes that live under a rock and they just sit there and they only come out when needed. That's the same. I'm gonna use that inference for those who are just finding out like this is like, oh, it's shocking right now, because y'all just been living under a rock and y'all enjoy living under a rock because it just feels safe. So
exactly. It would have disturbed their comfortability to come from up under it. So totally agree. Okay, fellas.